Welcome back. Welcome to Road to Lok Sabha 2024 on the final day of campaigning for Lok Sabha polls. Former Prime Minister of India, Manmohan Singh, has written a strongly worded letter to people of Punjab, pitching an emotional appeal to not vote for Prime Minister Modi. In a 3-page open letter, the veteran Congress leader has accused the Prime Minister of lowering the dignity of public discourse, accusing the Prime Minister of falling to lows that no other Prime Minister has, making references to the hateful and unparliamentary terms he has used. I'm quoting this from Manmohan Singh's letter. Almost a month after BJP, including the Prime Minister, accused him of Muslims first policy as a Prime Minister, Manmohan Singh has also broken his silence. The former Prime Minister termed it a lie, saying he never distinguished one community from the other. Incidentally, Congress Chief Mallikarjun Kharge today has hit out at the Prime Minister, accusing him of centering his poll campaign around non-issues, including divisive politics, but speaking nothing about inflation or unemployment.
प्रधानमंत्री जी की बात करेंगे तो उन्होंने पिछले 15 दिन के भाषण अगर आप उठा के देखेंगे 232 बार कांग्रेस का नाम लिया, 758 बार मोदी शब्द का प्रयोग किया गया, 573 बार इंडिया गठबंधन और विपक्षी पार्टियों को, जिससे पता चलता है, विपक्षी पार्टियों की बात की एक बार भी महंगाई और बेरोजगार बात नहीं की।
डॉक्टर मनमोहन सिंह जी ने जो आज स्टेटमेंट दी कि पंजाब के लोगों को बीजेपी का विरोध करना चाहिए और कांग्रेस को वोटें डालनी चाहिए। डॉक्टर मनमोहन सिंह जी, जिस पार्टी को आप वोट डालने की बात कर रहे हो, मैं बड़े अदब और सत्कार के साथ आपको याद करना चाहता हूँ और पंजाब के लोगों को भी याद करना चाहता हूँ। इसी कांग्रेस ने, ये खूनी कांग्रेस है, इस कांग्रेस ने पंजाब के अंदर 1984 में 1800 बेगुनाह सिखों को श्री दरबार साहब में तोप और टैंकों से उड़ाया। आप उसी कांग्रेस को वोट डालने की बात कर रहे हैं जो खूनी कांग्रेस है, जिसके हाथ सिखों के खून के साथ रंगे हैं। डॉक्टर मनमोहन सिंह जी, ये जो आपने स्टेटमेंट दी है, ये घोर पाप किया है आपने।
I'm being joined by R.S. Pathania right now, Advocate Mahima Singh, as well as Madhavan Narayanan, senior journalist, and of course, Advocate Mahima Singh is a spokesperson for Congress, and R.S. Pathania, spokesperson for BJP. Thank you very much, all three of you, for joining us. Well, to you, Advocate Mahima Singh, it's a strong letter by former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, but it's coming as the campaign comes to an end. It's coming in the last phase. If Prime Minister Manmohan Singh felt so strongly about it, and if he does, he's a former Prime Minister of India, he's not just a figure from Punjab. Why is he speaking so late?
Jai Hind. Sneha, I think the question that must be asked today is that the political discourse is being taken to new lows every day by nobody else but the Prime Minister of our country. So, of course, this is the reaction that has come from the former Prime Minister, Dr. Manmohan Singh, is at a time when the unimaginable turmoil that he is talking about in the country today, amidst the Lok Sabha election, is touching no lows by the day. So, of course, the clear message that is being transmitted through the letter that Dr. Manmohan Singh has written to the country is that आंखें ना खुले नूर के तालाब में मेरी वो रोशनी इतनी अंधेरा नजर आए. So, you know, I'm covered in promises, hollow words. The true intention of the BJP and Prime Minister Modi need to be seen by the people of this country. And that is exactly what Dr. Manmohan Singh does.
Sure. I'm going to take this question right to R.S. Pathania, but Advocate Mahima Singh, I'm going to ask you this question again. Is this coming too late? I mean, at the end of the day, he is a former Prime Minister of India. and any word that comes from him would garner public attention, would garner public discourse, as it is garnering today. But he's spoken as campaign comes to an end, at the fag end of campaigning. 30 seconds
As
before I go over to the BJP.
As you would remember, Sneha, Dr. Manmohan Singh had distanced himself from political life when he wrote that he dedicated himself to the country for his entire life, and now he's retired. He retired from active politics. Better, as I said earlier, at a time when things have started to look more impossible, that the Prime Minister of the country can, hurl religious slurs, fascist slurs,
Okay.
all sorts of do nots of the model code of conduct, and the election commission chooses to be silent. So the voters
Okay.
need to be shown the light of the day.
All right, we'll
and
also
that's
allow
what
you,
voters want to look at.
Advocate Mainama, we'll also allow you to just fix your audio. There seems to be some audio issue. R.S. Pathania, look at the letter which has been written by Prime Minister, the former Prime Minister of India, Manmohan Singh. He has said, this is the first Prime Minister to lower the dignity of public discourse in a way that he has.
Yes, Sneha.
What would BJP say to this?
Yes, Sneha. On one side, and one side of the coin remains that there is a silver lining that Manmohan ji has at least spoken. He speaks scarcely, and he maintains the reputation of being a puppet leader, puppet chief minister, and he always speaks at the instance of Sonia Gandhi ji. So he maintained this reputation during his prime ministership of 10 years, and he has stood to his reputation as ex-prime minister. Also, this letter was drafted somewhere else and put in his mouth, and his signatures were put here just like a straight jacket formula which used to be practiced by even prime minister. Also, this is
Are you saying that
disastrous.
this is not something that Prime Minister Manmohan feels? This is not something that Prime Minister Manmohan or the
Absolutely
former
not.
Prime Minister Manmohan wanted to say?
Absolutely not.
Is this what your defense is to what the letter from Manmohan Singh
Sneha,
is about?
Sneha ji.
I mean, come on, you may call him a puppet, sir, but give it to him. He's led this country. Give it to him. He's an educated person. Give it to him that he's a person who's respected across the world for whatever.
I'm not saying
he's not going to, even if your claim of signing a letter, he's not an illiterate person to sign any letter, sir. Let's go to the first. What would you say to the fact that he has said Prime Minister Modi has lowered the dignity of public discourse in a way that no other Prime Minister of India has? Whether he's a puppet or not, that is a discussion that has happened ample number of times. But for now, we are discussing Prime Minister Modi and his discourse.
Let me come to the matrix, madam. But just say one line. This is not that the R.S. Pathania, Bharatiya Janata Party, or any particular leader of the ruling party says. This is what Sanjay Badu, his own aide, says in his book, The Accidental Prime Minister. I was just quoting it, and a number of instances which have been quoted, which I don't want to spell out in this discussion. So let's come to the matrix.
So let's stick to what we are discussing. You're wasting precious airtime. Let's discuss. People are wanting to listen to BJP's response to this.
Madam,
let's come to what the mudda is, sir. Let's not stay in the periphery.
Coming to it. This letter is a bundle of half-truths. This letter is a bundle of half-truths, hoaxes, and hallucinations, madam. Virtually a lee side of the Indian economy has been tried to be projected, whereas not even India says, not even the Bharatiya Janata Party says. This is what the international economist says, that how the Indian economy with Atma Nirbhar Bharat and virtually the startups and a new virtually definition and a new terrain of economy has been spelled out under the dynamic leadership of Pradhan Mantri Narendra Modi ji. Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samnidhi, the bold initiative to go for FOB laws. Now it's a separate case that we had to retract them later.
Look at what every opposition party said. Every opposition party has said, where has Congress or Prime Minister Manmohan Singh spoken about Mangal Sutra le jayenge? Where has Muslims been propped up by them? From Mangal Sutra to Muslims and to many other words as well. Every opposition party has spoken about this in this. It's become the heart of campaign, particularly after certain phases were over and a shift was seen.
Sneha ji, this is what Pradhan Mantri Narendra Modi ji clarifying his speech, that if I bat for a particular sect, for a particular religion, for a particular bunch of people. I don't deserve, and I rather could not be and should not be the Prime Minister of this country. He was particularly referring to the references and utterances of Sam Petroda towards the inheritance tax. This is we are a saving based society and economy, and virtually a track record of Indian system also. The Congress tried to defeat and demean that by making useless, faceless fangs on the Indian society as well as Indian history and the Indian state of economy also. Pradhan Mantri referred to that also, that Mangal Sutra is the saving of the ladies. It is virtually the dignity of the women. And you are trying to, is it not Mangal Sutra the part of an inheritance, which one will inheritance? The mother will inherit, the mother will give it in inheritance to her daughter-in-laws also. So this was a way of putting forth the state of things by the Pradhan Mantri Narendra
Madhavan
Modi, but I think
Narayanan,
he has
if I
also
can come
clarified.
across,
Please.
Prime Minister or the former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, of course, making a political statement here. He's making it very clear, making a very political pointed letter to the people of Punjab. But how do you really look at this letter? One, the timing of this letter at the fag end of the elections, and second, of what is being spoken about the public discourse and the level of it all in what is actually the longest elections India has seen.
Neha, let me say that this is not an easy question to answer because we have to be very clear about where our opinions are, where our facts are, and where our analysis or perspective on the whole thing is. Now, the simple fact is that Dr. Manmohan Singh is 91 years old and definitely has a reputation of being a Cambridge-educated economist, but more important, he is also famous for being quiet for so long that he was being taunted for being quiet. At one point, Dr. Manmohan Singh even came up with an Urdu poem, a couplet in which says, "न जाने कितने जवाबों न जाने कितने सवालों की आबरू रखी मेरी हजारों जवाबों से बेहतर है मेरी खामोशी," or something to that effect, that 1,000 my silence is better than 1,000 replies, or something to that effect. I don't recall the share immediately. But it's very important why Dr. Manmohan Singh is famous for silence and why Narendra Modi is being criticized for his words. Because if you look at what Mr. Modi has been saying for the past 60 days during the election campaign, let us focus on the facts actually, because opinions come later. You know, we had Sonia Gandhi once saying, calling, Narendra Modi Maut ka Saudagar or something, that, that merchant of death or Zahar ki kheti. So at that time, there was a major controversy that erupted. But in politics, name calling is sort of accepted to a certain level. And a certain level of blame game is also part of politics. But we as journalists or reasonably impartial observers have to look at where the red lines are being crossed. And I must say, Mr. Modi has crossed a few red lines this time. Apart from the Dr. Manmohan Singh's letter mentioning references to Muslim minority. Now, we might argue and take Narendra Modi's statement at face value when he says, I did not mean Muslims when I said people who have lots of children. But, he has very clearly, for instance, talked against Muslims in the OBCs. The Constitution very clearly refers to OBCs as other backward classes and not castes. So OBCs can include Muslims. So when Narendra Modi criticizes that, and coming in the backdrop of other statements in which he's talking about infiltrators, whether he's talking about people having many children, he's talking about Mangal Sutra, which is a Hindu symbol, and then he talks about, lots of references which are seen as dog whistle innuendo references to Muslims. He cannot sidestep the responsibility for what is being understood. So in politics and in communication, it's not just about what you say. It's about how it is interpreted. The rules are the same, whether it is Sam Pitroda or Narendra Modi.
Right.
So if Sam Pitroda or Mani Shankar Iyer can be misinterpreted, so can Narendra Modi. Then we have to look at some of the other facts. For instance, he's talking about his not being a biological, by birth. we are living in a modern rational world. Questions will be asked if a democratically elected leader projects himself as something who's supernatural. Similarly, he's referenced about Mahatma Gandhi, saying the Gandhi movie was not,
30 seconds, sir.
is what made, Gandhi known to the world at a time when there are 27 countries which have roads named after him across 6 continents. So, when you're the prime minister, you have to measure your words. My assessment is that Manmohan Singh measured it too much and Modi is measuring it too little. We have two extremes of political communication here.
Okay.
Now, last but not the least, let me say
That's an interesting comparison, sir.
Yeah, there is a convention that even when you say something as a politician, once you sit in a chair, you're supposed to behave in a certain way. So that is certainly if past is any indication, Dr. Manmohan Singh is pretty right.
I have to go to the other panelists, sir. We're running short of time. I'll have to go to get the other panelists also on this. R.S. Pathania, your quick response to what Madhavan Narayanan has said. Two things. If one criticizes Manmohan Singh as a prime minister for being too less on words, Prime Minister Modi could be criticized on being too much or too free with words.
See, Sneha, the basic undercurrent remains that we need to be decent. We need to follow the Lakshman Rekha while behaving and while acting and while speaking in public. And Pradhan Mantri Narendra Modi ji, he has spoken less, but he has been misinterpreted more by a section of persons for certain vested interests on media as well as in social media.
This seems so similar to several other leaders of other political parties, what they claim. This sounds very strange to me, because it's an argument that many others have also claimed about, that we have been misunderstood.
Yeah,
in fact, I think Prime Minister Modi, with the fan following that he has and the voters that he has, the kind of fan base that he has, the kind of supporters that he has, it's going to be very hard to say that he's misunderstood.
Sneha, I have facts and statistics at my disposal, at my vanguard, which will prove that Pradhan Mantri Narendra Modi ji tenure has been a golden rule for minorities and especially Muslims. May it be the funding of Aligarh Muslim University.
Okay, we'll hold it at that. Let me get an advocate, Mahima Singh. She's been raising her hand for a while now.
May it be the benefit to centrally sponsored schemes also. So the last punchline remains the most
let me just get an advocate, Mahima Singh.
And the most hated by the opposition political party,
okay. Let me get in Mahima Singh. I give you your chance to speak. Let me get in my advocate, Mahima Singh.
No, he's the man of the millennium of India. That's what I'm submitting. Please.
To Madhavan Narayanan ji, I would like to complete that share that he was pointing to, because that is relevant here. कई जवाबों से अच्छी है खामोशी मेरी, न जाने कितने सवालों की आबरू रखे. Because when we call Dr. Manmohan Singh names, forgetting that he studied across universities, his strategies and policies are studied across the across the world, the BJP's desperation and, the frustration is very visible, Sneha, as they prepare to shift to the opposition bloc as this result of this election is announced. Because the BJP forgets that he's the Prime Minister who interacted with the press consistently. Over 150 press conferences were held during his regime. The GDP was above 8%, the average GDP, which today has plunged to 6%, which Dr. Manmohan Singh has pointed to, and various other policy misrule, various other flaws in policy making during their misrule is very visible today. But I would only reiterate what Mallikarjun Kharge ji said, reminding the Prime Minister Modi of Maryada. He said that आपको म से मर्यादा याद नहीं आती, आपको म से मटन, मछली, मंगलसूत्र, मुगल और मुजरा भी याद आता है. So see, that is where Prime Minister Modi has brought the discourse to, and now चूहे खा के बिल्ली हज को चली. Now he is off for meditation after disrupting peace and tranquility across the country, lowering the discourse.
Okay, all right, we're totally out of time.
Just allow me to complete. Lowering the discourse to something as low as bhais. So, you see, that is where he is brought, and that is why Dr. Manmohan Singh's letter today is very pertinent, and I think it is right on time.
Okay, R.S. Pathania, 30 seconds, and then to Madhavan Narayanan, 30 seconds. R.S. Pathania, please.
Madam, my respectful submission. We need to be responsible. We need to follow certain dictums and certain self imposed discipline. Also, politicians are role model also. So we are a duty to the people of the Janmanas of India to be respectful, to be decent, and to follow
Sir, what is your point?
that Lakshman Rekha also, and to politicians also to not to misinterpret and not to make the people misconstrue about political leaders, not to spread canards and not to talk
Sir,
of
that's a
non-issues.
very
We
hard
need to be
preaching, sir. If you're preaching this to the opposition, then you'll have to preach this to
This is what they
BJP.
have
This
been
thing
doing.
of
This is what they have been
misunderstanding,
doing. This is
misinterpretation,
what they had been
this
doing.
is
Madam.
not really going to
They don't
work,
talk
sir.
of
This
issues.
is going to be hard to take. I mean, I don't want to oppose you here, but frankly, this can't be the stool on which one stands. Madhavan Narayanan ji,
Yeah.
just 30 seconds. I don't have more time than that.
I have a simple rule here. If political parties are like teams playing a cricket match, we need a bunch of scorers, umpires, and the third umpire. Now, the point is, I am certain that the media in general, including social media, is abuzz with lots of comments on what Mr. Modi has said. And they should be treated like the spectators in a match. And the simple fact is that Mr. Modi has said a lot of things that are
Okay.
controversial, to say the least. And therefore, I think if there is a certain consensus that we have as a country, it should look beyond politicians and respect institutions like the
Okay.
academia, media, and the judiciary, because a lot of things that are being said are being measured, whether you like it or not. And the new consensus is emerging. That's all I want to say.
All right. I mean, RS Pathania, as well as Advocate Mahima Singh and Madhavan Narayanan, thank you very much for joining. While there's going to be political back and forth and there's going to be a lot of nuances and analysis that's going to happen over the last few days, it's a matter of few more days. And on 4th, we'll know who wins and what has India decided.